Hey there and happy Thursday. So sorry to be a few minutes late. I was getting all ready to go live and then hubby called and I thought I needed to run some fuel out to the tractor in the field and I got a hold of my son so I could like kind of micromanager or something like that. So here I am, but a few minutes late, but just here to show you a fun fold. So where are my fun fold people? Hi there, Sandy. It's always neat to try and come up with something different. And this one kind of threw people for a loop, and I'll show you why as I get going, but they had fun making it at a recent class. So I thought I want to bring that along to you guys, and also because they liked the outcome after they thought it through how it comes together, I know I'll be doing this fun fold again for some of my upcoming classes for those that maybe weren't in participation. I try and like in my in-person things kind of give everybody a chance to do something. I might switch up what the card looks like, but maybe the same fun fold. And I also try and keep an eye on like who's been at classes so that they aren't doing the same projects again also. So it's kind of fun, keeps me on my toes, and yet gives you guys some versatility, and yet includes everybody too for the in-person event. So let me get my camera turned around for you. And then my card will make a little bit more sense here for you. All right, so I've got, see this? Oops. Let's see if I can get my tripod. There we go. My tripod was trying to balance on my scissors, I think was the problem. All right, there we go. So here we have the fun fold card, and it kind of has like that Z look to it, but this is actually centered on a card base that is just a flat piece of paper. So when people were trying to start their card, it would make more sense that you're going to grab a card base at a card making session that has maybe some scores in it. And this is going to be the card base, and maybe this gets added or something too. But so once people caught on and went, oh, there we go, then it made more sense. And where this these products are coming from is from the annual catalog, page 41. So you can see some of these in some of these designs and colors on pages 40 and 41 and go, yeah, that's where all that comes from, including the pretty paper. Love this paper, you guys. It's like one of my favorites in this catalog. It looks so pretty in the catalog. And then of course, and I say this all the time, once you get it in person, it's just so pretty. So I'm using the stamp sets, the stamp set and dies from this today. Wildflower Designs, Sending Happy Thoughts is what I have on my card. You've Been on My Mind is a good one, and Thank You is always good. And then just this little tiny flower piece there is what we're going to use. And then from the dies here, of course, the flower die, we'll cut that out. And then also this to give us the inside edge. So a while back I had made a card. It was also a fun fold now that I think about it, using this, and we just did this outside kind of scalloped fancy edge. But as I did this edge for that card, I had all these pieces of this left over in Misty Moonlight, and it just made sense to use up all these extra pieces then here. Even though I was like, oh, I want to use that, and then I realized I had a stack, so that was kind of fun. But because it's Misty Moonlight and that card was a fun fold using these products, I knew this would coordinate because that paper all kind of matches for the most part too. So that is where the dies are coming in from for today's project too. And the paper. I did swap out, I'll show you once I get to that point, my embellishments. These are more like brassy looking. They're textured, adhesive textured back dots, maybe a little more, yeah, I would say brass more than copper. So I switched out something a little bit more colorful to kind of go in with the floral theme here for you. Okay, so let me get started here with the card base. And like I said, usually I'll say which way it's folding, if it's this way or that way. But today, this is the card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 only. And then on top of that, I have cut from the Wildly Flowering DSP. So like anytime I'm just like I'm really giving this up. Like, this would be such a pretty card front too. But it doesn't really coordinate really well with this, a little clashy. And this might be better, but still clashy. So I'm going with the one that has just like a, almost like a linen canvasy look or texture to it. And this is also Misty Moonlight. So that was part of kind of why it threw people for a loop putting this together, because from a distance, if they're sitting next to each other, it's almost hard to tell with the lighting at the event that this wasn't the same piece. And even my card sample probably didn't show it so well to have Misty Moonlight on top of Misty Moonlight. And especially once I put it together, it's even harder to tell. So that's the card base here that we're doing that with. And then for our next piece of paper here, I have Misty Moonlight cut. I'm just going to double check. 4 1/4 by 11. So I'm just taking my 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and cutting that in half. And then I scored it at 4 1/4 and 7 3/4. Just double checking that too. So 4 1/4 and 7 3/4. So that made coming up with this square very easy, because our pretty Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper comes 12 by 12. So to cut that down in 4 by 4 squares, I could just cut up a 12 by 12 sheet very easily and make multiple cards out of this layout, which is always nice. So I'm just going to start by putting that on here like so, and then it kind of allows me to go, okay, this is going to end up on the front, so I'm just going to fold that, and then I'm going to get out my bone folder here like so, and that's going to give it a nice crease. And then I always kind of like stand it up and go like that, like, okay, is there anything that's going to maybe not fold up right? And it looks like there's a little piece kind of that wants to go lower, so I'm just going to, like a rolling pin, make that go up into the corner so it's level there. All right, so now we've got that like so, and then this is ready to go onto the card. So I can just take, oops, and I ran out of that. I have been busy stamping today. I was going to wash windows outside. The other day I detailed our car for the last time, probably before we drive it for the winter. And after hauling out so much food to the field during harvest, I try and lay down blankets and stuff, but still, like, sometimes just even giving rides and all the extra dirt gets in there. It was a good feeling to do that, and I thought I'll conquer windows next. But then today I kind of woke up and it just wasn't as sunny. I'm highly motivated by sunshine, and so I was just getting the gunk on my finger. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to catch up on making some cards and getting those out in the mail to those I needed to send some cards out to. And so yeah, so I've been running through my adhesive. I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes one adhesive can last a long time, and then the next time it's just like you can go through several in one day. All right, so I've got my sticky adhesive on there. Hi there, Donna. Good to see you on here. And so I'm just going to like center it just by eyeball. I think it's close enough, just because there's not a lot on either side to go from. And then just kind of eyeing that so it is flush there and there. So once I put this on, then there's our fun fold like so. And now for the inside piece, let's see. Here it is. Okay. Oops. Got to grab it over here off camera. I'm just taking some white here, and that measurement then is going to be 3 inches by 4 inches. And before I put that down, I always like to stamp first, because who knows if I tape it in there what it might turn out like. So I'm just going to take that flower from the Wildflower Designs here and ink that up in Misty Moonlight. Oops, that's going to go over here. I'm so used to putting things in that bottom corner. This just because of the way it opens, I kind of like it. I think it's more pleasing to the eye to put it on the opposite side. And we're going to need this for adding to the front of the card, so I'm just going to stamp that out right away in Misty Moonlight, since I have the stamp in my hand and the ink ready to go. Now I'm just going to tape this down in the inside. And I'll tell you something that didn't turn out with this card. I always like to tell you those kind of stories too. So, and this is the card that I started with. So when I was making this card, I thought, well, there's going to be more space to write in here, right? And so I was going to leave this blue and put another panel 4x4 of white in here. And when I did that, it's not like this card can just open up. It can open up, I guess, and tuck under like so, and that's okay, and that's good. But it just seemed goofy, like not normal to have your writing on this side of the card. And so my husband told me that. And I'm like, okay. So then I added another panel on this side. So I had white and white on there. And then it looked kind of like a book in telling a story, but it just didn't look very good anymore. So my husband goes, no. And I kind of agreed with him. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't when it comes to, you know, his kind of idea of where my design should go. And I always appreciate feedback, because sometimes what somebody else suggests is always way better than mine. So I'm very open-minded about that. But came to the conclusion of just this piece over here. So when it came time for the class, though, I was getting frustrated, and I think this was the last card that I had designed, and you can even see some of my Misty Moonlight cardstock kind of ripped that's coming out from underneath this piece. So what I did is ripped off my white piece, and like I said, I just didn't have time to redo the whole class. And part of it was, I thought, this is going to be a full class. I don't know if I have enough of this pretty paper, if I have to redo it all and that. So my sample might look a little funky. So I just cut like a 4x4 of Misty Moonlight and put it on top of Misty Moonlight. But people did notice that. They're like, where's that piece of paper that we should put in there? I'm like, well, you really don't have to have it because this is Misty Moonlight. I was basically covering up my sin on there. So anyway, so if you're thinking, you know, you have a lot to say, or, you know, you could even say you had a picture to send to somebody and wanted to cut it down, that would be a fun spot to put that in. So it's not the worst thing to put something there. It just wasn't turning out. And maybe because of it being bright white and a lot of this is just floral, it looked maybe too white. So that's how that ended up being like that. All right. And then next, I'm just going to take a strip of basic white, and that is cut 3/4 inches by 3, let me double check, 3.75. I love my glass mat here for just double checking things, because I want to make sure I give you the right measurements. It's kind of like giving somebody the almost right ingredients for a recipe or something, right? Okay, so Sending Happy Thoughts. I just love this font. And when I stamp this out on Misty Moonlight, I'm leaving, whoops, oh, nope, nothing smeared. I'm leaving just a little bit more on this edge to stick that flower embellishment to. So I want to stamp this closer to that edge on purpose. And before I do anything with that, I'm just going to take this from the Wildflower Designs dies, and I'm just going to tape that down. That's not going to be popped up or anything. And then I'm just going to center this on here like so. And then this I thought would be nice to have popped up, this little strip here. So let me get some dimensionals here, and it's kind of long, so I'm just going to do probably 4 on this one today. That way it doesn't cave in, and it gives some support to the flower that we're going to end up putting on there too. And this one, I just kind of go right from tip to tip as far as trying to line that up, and then eyeing it just to see how much of the paper is left on each side there. So that's very easy to line up. So we've got that. And then since we have this stamped out, now we can work with that. And my disclaimer with this is I did stamp it with Misty Moonlight ink. And I'm going to color it in with the blends. And normally I would say that your best coloring is going to happen. I'm just going to put this little washi tape on there to hold that in place. Your best coloring is going to happen when you use your Stampin' Blends with the Memento black ink pad. And every once in a while I can get away with, you know, doing it. It can tend to like fade and kind of want to wash out whatever your color is that's your base. This worked really well for me, so I was glad for that. So I'm just going to take the light Old Olive here and just kind of color that in lightly. And I'm not even going to color all the leaves. I'm just going to kind of like dab at it and fill in with the light Old Olive. And then the wild wheat, you can see some of that wild wheat color in the paper too. And so I'm just going to take the darker of the wild wheat and just kind of color in on some of these leaves. Kind of that same way, more of a tap and just flick that color on with that. So we have that, which it is a wildflower design, so it kind of has the watercolor look to go with that. And then I'm just going to take my adhesive and just put some of that right down the middle here so it's sticky, and then that's going to stick right on top of here. And the goal is to get that to stay onto the side, not too far over, so you have adhesive that might want to stick to that next layer here. We don't want that, and we do want it on there like so. So now we have kind of that inside matching the outside that I like to do. For embellishments, I am choosing the In Color 2023 through 2025 In Color Opaque Sparkle Dots. And I like, they've just got like a subtle sparkle to them, but, and they're small, they're all the same size. A lot of times we put a large and small of the same color on a sheet, but I like that they are all the same size for this because there's so many colors on there. So I'm just going to start in the middle. That's how I usually end up getting my things to kind of turn out, where when people are like, how do you know like how to center things and such? If I start in the middle, I tend to have better luck, and I'm not really spacing it toward or all the way to the ends either. I just kind of am eyeing it like this is that far and this is that far, and that's how much on each side that it's going to be. So there we have the fun fold. Hopefully I gave you all the dimensions, I think so, with the cutting and the scoring and all of that. There's, you know, quite a few pieces and such, but I think that if you want to recreate this, just go back and pause it, write down the dimensions, and you should be good to go. So for my fun fold lovers, this should be a fun one for you to replicate. And like I said, it's for me. Are we there? Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I've been heavy-handed or something and knocking my screen out. Okay, so yeah, for those of you that like to use the pretty paper and use it all up, this is a great design to get a big chunk on the background and use up different patterns. And even if you didn't on that background piece, that focal point, the 4x4, you can make several cards, use up a full sheet of 12x12, have no leftover waste to wonder what you're going to do with later. So that's kind of fun too. So as October is starting to wrap up, just know that there is a join special going on right now. Stampin' Up! Has added an extra $30 into the starter kit. So normally it's $125 worth of product that you get to pick out for the starter kit for just $99 plus free shipping. Now it's $155 to join. Still costs just $99 free shipping. So let me know if you're interested. Today I did post my own personal link with the details. Like if you click that link on my Facebook page here, you'll see like the details and how to sign up or whatever. But always know that I am a good reference or resource too to ask any questions about that as well. So let me know if you have any questions on that. If you need to just order to be ordering and not joining, just please use the host code because that helps me to give you guys fun stuff back as a thank you. So thank you, Sandy. Yeah, it was a fun and easy card. Once like the measurements get figured out, very easy. Like it's one of those cards I could sit down and make a lot of because it's fun and easy. So thank you, Sandy. So have a good rest of your night. Cheer for the Minnesota Vikings tonight, and we'll see you again. Thanks. Bye-bye.